Self-knowledge as foundation. Socrates, one of the greatest philosophers of antiquity, proclaimed, "Know thyself." This maxim, inscribed at the Temple of Delphi, is the heart of his philosophy and the first principle of Socrates' mind. For him, everything begins with introspection. By focusing on oneself, one discovers their strengths, weaknesses, desires, and illusions. This inner quest allows one to align their actions with their deep values, creating a harmony that guides life. Socrates believed that ignorance of oneself leads to erroneous choices, a source of chaos. By questioning one's beliefs, as he did with his interlocutors in Athens, one eliminates false ideas and gets closer to the truth. This approach requires courage. Facing one's flaws and contradictions is not easy. Yet, it is through engaging in this examination that everything organizes itself. Relationships improve as one acts with authenticity. Decisions become clearer as they rest on a lucid understanding of one's motivations. Socrates used the meieutic method, an art of delivering minds through questioning, to help his disciples discover their inner truths. Applied to oneself, this method involves asking fundamental questions. Why do I act this way? What truly motivates me? By focusing on oneself, one avoids external distractions, judgments, social expectations that cloud vision. Socrates taught that an unexamined life is not worth living. This rigorous introspection is the first step to structuring one's life. For Socrates, truth is the beacon that guides the soul. In Socrates' mind, focusing on oneself means seeking truth with unwavering discipline. It is not about absolute or dogmatic truths, but those that emerge from rigorous questioning. Socrates, through his dialogues in the streets of Athens, demonstrated that truth reveals itself by challenging preconceived notions. He would ask his interlocutors, "What is justice? What is courage?" These questions, far from being abstract, invited deep introspection. By focusing on oneself, one learns to distinguish what is true from what is illusory. This quest demands humility. Socrates asserted, "I know that I know nothing," acknowledging the limits of human knowledge. This humility is essential for progress. By questioning one's beliefs, false certainties that hinder clarity are eliminated. For instance, the belief that material success guarantees happiness can be deconstructed by examining one's true aspirations. The Socratic method teaches to dig beyond appearances, to interrogate deep motivations. This process aligns actions with personal truths, creating coherence in life. Socrates showed that truth, even when uncomfortable, liberates. By focusing on this inner quest, decisions become more just, relationships more authentic, as they are based on sincerity. External distractions, opinions, trends, social pressures lose their grip. The Socratic method, at the heart of Socrates' mind, relies on incessant questioning. Focusing on oneself means adopting this discipline, asking difficult questions to illuminate one's thoughts and actions. Socrates never provided ready-made answers. He guided his interlocutors to discover their truths through rigorous inquiries. "Why do you think that?" he would ask, pushing them to justify each belief. When applied to oneself, this method becomes a powerful tool for organizing one's life. By questioning, "Why am I angry? What do I really want?" one identifies the roots of their emotions and motivations. This process clarifies priorities and eliminates impulsive choices. Socrates believed that ignorance is the source of evil. Acting without understanding one's motivations leads to mistakes. For instance, pursuing a prestigious career due to social pressure can be deconstructed by asking, "Is this really what I want?" This discipline requires patience and courage, as it confronts uncomfortable truths. But it liberates. By understanding one's deep desires, one acts with intention. Relationships improve as one communicates authentically. Goals become clear as they align with one's values. Socrates showed that questioning is not an intellectual exercise, but a daily practice. In Socrates' mind, it's about making every decision a moment of reflection. For example, before reacting to criticism, one should ask, "Is it justified? How can I improve?" This habit structures life as it replaces automatic reactions with conscious choices. For Socrates, virtue is the ultimate goal of life, and Socrates' mind places the quest for virtue at the center of introspection. Focusing on oneself means cultivating qualities like justice, courage, and temperance.
Socrates believed that virtue arises from knowledge. By understanding what is right, one acts rightly.
This idea transforms daily life. By asking oneself, "Am I just in my relationships?" one aligns actions with ethical principles, creating inner harmony. Socrates taught that true happiness, eudaimonia, comes from living according to virtue, not from fleeting pleasures or wealth. For instance, choosing honesty in the face of dishonest gain strengthens self-esteem and clarifies priorities. This focus on virtue organizes life, as it provides a moral framework for every decision. Relationships become stronger based on trust. Ambitions align with what is truly meaningful. In his dialogues, Socrates showed that virtue requires constant effort. One must resist the temptations of selfishness or ease. By concentrating on oneself, one identifies weaknesses, impatience, pride, and works to correct them. This Socratic discipline is not moralizing, it is practical. For example, in the face of conflict, asking, "How can I act with courage and justice?" leads to balanced solutions. Accused of impiety, Socrates chose death rather than renounce his principles, proving that virtue outweighs survival. In Socrates' mind, cultivating virtue structures existence, replacing the chaos of conflicting desires with clear direction. In the modern world, where external pressures, money, status, blur values, focusing on virtue restores order. Every choice becomes an opportunity for moral growth, aligning life with an ideal that transcends distractions. In Socrates' mind, humility is a key element for focusing on oneself. Socrates stated, "I know that I know nothing," a recognition of human ignorance that liberates the mind. This humility allows one to approach life with openness, accepting that our knowledge is limited. By focusing on oneself, one learns to acknowledge their shortcomings without shame, transforming ignorance into an opportunity for growth. Socrates demonstrated in his dialogues that those who claim to know everything are the farthest from the truth. By questioning their certainties, he pushed them towards introspection. Applied to oneself, this humility involves doubting one's judgments. Am I really in the right? This constructive doubt clarifies thoughts and avoids the errors of pride. For example, in an argument, admitting that one might be wrong paves the way for a peaceful resolution. This attitude organizes life as it replaces arrogance with curiosity. Relationships improve because humility fosters listening. Decisions become wiser as they incorporate the possibility of error. Socrates, by challenging the sophists, showed that humility is not a weakness, but a strength that allows for constant learning. In Socrates' mind, focusing on oneself means accepting one's limits and seeking to improve. This approach structures existence, as it avoids unnecessary conflicts and illusions of superiority. In a world where ego dominates, Socratic humility is a silent revolution. It allows one to navigate uncertainties with serenity, focusing on learning rather than defending one's image. Socrates' mind teaches that focusing on oneself involves mastering one's emotions. Socrates believed that uncontrolled passions, anger, fear, envy, cloud reason and lead to destructive choices. By examining oneself, one learns to understand their emotions, identify their causes, and channel them. For example, when faced with provocation, Socrates would advise asking, "Why am I angry? Is this reaction justified?" This questioning allows for a calm response rather than succumbing to impulse. This mastery organizes life as it replaces instinctive reactions with thoughtful actions. Relationships improve as unnecessary conflicts are avoided. Goals become more attainable as one remains focused despite disturbances. Socrates, in his dialogues, remained unperturbed in the face of attacks, demonstrating that reason should guide emotions. He taught that temperance, moderation, is an essential virtue for a harmonious life. In Socrates' mind, this means observing one's emotions as a spectator without letting them dominate. For instance, when facing professional disappointment, asking, "What does this teach me?" transforms failure into a lesson. This emotional discipline structures existence as it creates inner stability, independent of external circumstances. Socrates, condemned to death, drank hemlock with serenity, proving that self-mastery transcends even the fear of death. In a modern world where emotions are amplified by social media and pressures, Socrates' mind offers an antidote. By focusing on understanding and regulating one's emotions, one builds a coherent life, where each challenge becomes an opportunity to strengthen resilience and clarity of mind. Socrates, in Socrates' mind, advocates for autonomy of thought as a pillar for organizing one's life. Focusing on oneself means refusing to blindly follow the opinions of others, the crowd, authorities, traditions. Socrates challenged the Athenians by urging them to justify their beliefs, demonstrating that blind adherence leads to error. By examining oneself, one develops critical thinking, capable of filtering external influences. Why do I accept this idea? Is it founded? These questions at the heart of the Socratic method liberate the mind from dogmas. This autonomy structures life as it allows for choices aligned with one's own values, not societal expectations. For instance, choosing a career out of passion rather than social pressure reflects this independence. Relationships gain authenticity as one expresses oneself sincerely. Goals become clear, dictated by a personal vision. Socrates, accused of corrupting the youth, paid with his life for his refusal to conform. In Socrates' mind, autonomy of thought is an act of courage, saying no to oppressive norms, questioning established truths. In a world saturated with misinformation and conformity, this intellectual freedom is essential. It allows one to navigate complexities with discernment, relying on one's own reason. Thus, everything organizes itself. Decisions become coherent, relationships deeper, and life gains meaning as it rests on free and enlightened thought. Socrates' mind emphasizes personal responsibility as the key to structuring one's life. Socrates taught that each person is the master of their actions and must bear the consequences. Focusing on oneself means recognizing that our choices shape our destiny. By examining ourselves, we identify past mistakes and learn to act differently. Socrates asked, "Are you responsible for your actions?" This question prompts an evaluation of the impact of one's decisions on oneself and others. For instance, blaming others for a failure can be deconstructed by asking, "What did I do to contribute to this?" This responsibility organizes life, as it replaces excuses with action. Relationships improve because we act with integrity. Goals progress because we focus on what we can control. Socrates, in the face of his trial, took responsibility for his words, refusing to flee or deny his convictions. In Socrates' mind, this means taking charge of one's personal growth, even in adversity. This responsibility provides a sense of power. We're not victims of circumstances, but actors in our lives. In a world where it is easy to shift blame onto others, society, government, Socrates reminds us that true freedom comes from self-responsibility. By focusing on our choices, we align our lives with our values, creating a coherence where every piece, career, relationships, aspirations, finds its place through conscious ownership. In Socrates' mind, simplicity is a liberating virtue. Socrates lived modestly, despising wealth and honors, for he believed that material desires hinder the quest for truth. Focusing on oneself means eliminating the superfluous to concentrate on the essential: knowledge, virtue, authentic relationships. By questioning one's needs, do I really need this? One frees oneself from distractions that complicate life. Socrates demonstrated that simplicity clarifies the mind. Fewer possessions, fewer worries. This approach organizes life as it reduces internal and external conflicts. For instance, renouncing overconsumption frees up time and energy for meaningful pursuits, such as learning or friendship. Relationships deepen as they are based on sincere exchanges, not appearances. By living simply, Socrates showed that happiness does not depend on possessions, but on the soul. In Socrates' mind, simplicity structures existence by aligning actions with clear priorities. In a modern world obsessed with accumulation, this philosophy serves as an antidote. By focusing on the essential, one eliminates the chaos of unnecessary desires, creating a harmonious life where every element, time, energy, relationships, naturally organizes around what truly matters. Socrates' mind synthesizes the legacy of Socrates. By focusing on oneself, everything organizes itself. His philosophy, centered on introspection, truth, virtue, and humility, offers a timeless guide for a meaningful life. By questioning one's beliefs, as Socrates did in Athens, one discovers inner truths, aligning actions with values. This approach structures life, replacing the chaos of external influences with inner clarity. Relationships become authentic, decisions coherent, and challenges opportunities for growth. Socrates, by dying for his ideas, proved that fidelity to oneself is more precious than survival. His teaching, "The unexamined life is not worth living," resonates in Socrates' mind as a call for daily introspection. In a modern world saturated with distractions, his method offers a compass. Focusing on oneself means eliminating the superfluous, cultivating virtue, and taking responsibility for one's choices. This legacy transcends eras as it addresses a universal quest to live with meaning and coherence. By applying Socratic principles, questioning, humility, simplicity, one builds a life where every piece finds its place, guided by inner truth and personal responsibility. Thus, everything organizes itself, not by chance, but through a conscious effort to become the best version of oneself.